Should you go see the Thunderbolts? Well, that depends. If you were looking for more content like the Marvels or Captain America Brave New World, well, you're in for disappointment because the Thunderbolts is awesome. For the first time in years, I sat in an audience filled with people excited to see an MCU movie. I feel like last MCU film I saw in theaters, Captain America Brave New World, the audience was kind of snickering the whole time, sort of making fun of the movie, mocking it, if you will. Honestly, I swear to God, even like the last end credit scenes of Captain America Brave New World, I remember someone said, "Oh, really? Can you believe it? They're entering the multiverse." Like, people were making fun of the movie during the movie, but last night, when I saw the Thunderbolts with a packed sneak preview crowd of people who just wanted to be there. These are real fans. These aren't, it wasn't filled with media people. This was just a bunch of people like me who were excited to be there, crossing their fingers that we would even get in. I was near the back of the line, and I wasn't sure if I would even get a good seat. But still, I sort of thought, there's no way this movie's going to be great, but hopefully it's fun. Anyway, the movie starts, and it's a scene that was shared already by Marvel Studios a few days ago online. It's the scene where Yelena is talking to herself in her mind. She's kind of narrating and talking about how she's unhappy with her life. She's bored, and she jumps off the building. She parachutes, and she gets into a big fight. She's there to do a mission. And starting a film with something I've already seen is never something that excites me. And so I wouldn't say that Thunderbolts started out with any brownie points. However, as the movie continued on, it won me over, and it didn't take very long to do. Now, this film is filled with a cast of people that I'm not specifically fans of. I guess you could say Florence Pugh is obviously the most interesting because she is currently the most famous, although I'm sort of partial to Julia Louis-Dreyfus just in general. It's like cool to see Elaine seemingly not aging since, so there's probably something to that. But let's be honest, if I read out this cast list right now, these are not the most famous actors in the world, and they're not the most famous characters in the MCU, so going to see a Thunderbolts movie isn't as exciting as going to see a Spider-Man movie or going to see a Captain America movie for that effect. So we've got Florence Pugh as Yelena Belova, Sebastian Stan as Bucky Barnes, Wyatt Russell as the U.S. Agent, David Harbour as the Red Guardian, Hannah John Carmen as Ghost, Olga Kurylenko as Taskmaster, Louis Pullman as Bob, and then Julia Louis-Dreyfus, rounding things out as Valentina Allegra de Fontaine. And it's really important that you do not forget the day. So here's the thing. Here's my point. Like, who cares, right? Who cares about these guys? And I think that's the point of the movie. The movie actually does go ahead and make you care. How do they do that? Well, you need to go to the movies and have that experience for yourself, but I can give you a rough idea of the plot. And again, this is spoiler-free. This is going to be completely spoiler-free. So, I think the film does a good job of being an anti-Suicide Squad. So, whereas Amanda Waller puts together this team of anti-heroes in Suicide Squad, in the Thunderbolts, the idea is that Valentina de Allegra, played by Elaine Bennett, is trying to tie up loose ends, and the beginning of the film starts with her basically trying to have them all take each other out, and from there the plot sort of turns into this very straight line of escape, and they each come to understand each other, they come to understand one another, and that's through their own personal traumas, which I feel like in a million other movies would have rubbed me the wrong way. However, the Thunderbolts somehow finds a way to balance that, and I've got to talk about the film's director real quick. Jake Schreier. I have no idea who this guy is. I looked up his filmography. He's made movies called Beef, Paper Towns, Robot and Frank, which I do remember hearing about, Brand New Cherry Flavor, We Cry Together. I don't know any of this guy's films, but you know what? He did a good job playing in the MCU and balancing all the tones together. The movie was funny when it needs to be funny. The movie is heartfelt when it needs to be heartfelt. The movie is a thrill ride, an action extravaganza when it wants to be. It does all those things without losing the pace, without losing the plot. The movie is good, and I think that's ultimately why Thunderbolts succeeds. And I can tell you more about the plot. I can tell you more about why I like the villain again, no spoilers, but I really appreciated how the villain mirrored what the heroes were going through, right? The villain's superpower has something to do with sort of depression, sadness, and loneliness, and that's something that the team was going through, and that's something that we all go through as well. And so I think you can sit there and you can watch the Thunderbolts and you can have a little therapy session with yourself. And I know this sounds so lame, but it's not, because the whole time you're having a blast and the message is never preachy. It's just kind of like, hey, we all have problems and we need each other. I mean, it's dope. It's so good. And it's a lot of fun. And I think that's what the MCU has been lacking for so long. They've been so focused on trying to figure out who we wanted Marvel to be that they just forgot how to be themselves. And I think this movie is a sort of meta self-referential statement, being self-reflective and saying, no, I accept myself. This is what we are. This is Marvel. And we are the Thunderbolts. I mean, I don't know. It's really cool. It's a good movie. It's super fun. I want to talk about some standout actors in this movie. Louis Pullman. You know, I don't actually know him from too many things. Let's see what he's done before. He was in Top Gun Maverick. Okay, yeah, I remember him. He was in Bad Times at the El Royale. I also saw that. That's by Drew Goddard. Although I don't remember him specifically from the movie. So I basically go into this movie not knowing much about Louis Pullman. But I gotta say, I think he does a really good job of playing a very complicated character. Let's say. You know, even if you look on Letterboxd, you'll see that Louis Pullman's characters are listed as Robert Bob Reynolds, Sentry, and Void. So the guy's got a lot to do, and he does a great job. You end up really caring about this guy, and I think that Louis Pullman's Bob and Florence Pugh's Yelena Belova really steal the show and are the heart of the film. They're these two lost souls, sort of the antagonist and protagonist, both looking for acceptance, but maybe in different ways. And, well, this movie does a great job of doing everything that you'd expect it to do, but successfully, which is something that the MCU just hasn't been able to do in such a long time. Now, I can't say I'm the biggest fan of David Harbour's interpretation of the Red Guardian. However, in this movie, his comedy and heartfelt characterization of Alexei Shostakov works perfectly and is a well-needed oasis in an otherwise sea of sad characters. David Harbour brings us light with great comedic timing and just a lot of fun. I come out of the Thunderbolts liking the Red Guardian.
What?
I didn't expect that. Especially in the trailers, he's definitely the most annoying character in the trailers. And for sure, in the film, somehow, he just comes off really lovable. Even Wyatt Russell's U.S. agent, a character I really did not like in Falcon and the Winter Soldier, in the Thunderbolts comes off somehow a human being. Let's not forget about Hannah John Carmen, who just kicks ass the entire movie, is super cool, and does a great job of being this crew's Ridley, and keeps on coming through no matter what. Also, quick shout out to Geraldine Viswanathan as the assistant to Julia Louis-Dreyfus's politician, Valentina Allegra de Fontaine. Viswanathan's Mel is cool, funny, and does a great job of hanging in the MCU. It's always great to see a new face, someone that you don't recognize, and just enjoy their screen presence. I mean, that really is what the movies are for. Now, there's two more really important things we need to talk about before we go, but in a spoiler-free video, I can't go too deep into them, so stay tuned for the next spoiler review of the Thunderbolts. But there's the asterisk. That's one thing that we need to talk about. And then, of course, the end credits, or the post-credits scene, whatever you call it, post-credits scene. So the asterisk I really can't talk about, but let's say it's worth it. I like it. I'm cool with it. I dig it. I like it. It works. I think it definitely works. That's one thing. That's the asterisk. The other thing is this. Let's talk about, spoiler-free, the post-credits scene. This is the first post-credit scene I've seen in the MCU where I actually felt like I'm glad I waited to watch it. I'm glad I waited for the credits. I enjoyed the movie. I was excited to see if there was going to be another end credit scene. I wasn't sure if it would actually be at this special screening. You know, I thought maybe they'd hold it, but they didn't. And it's fun, and it's cool, and it's exciting. And I hope that excites you. I'm stoked for more MCU. I'm stoked for Fantastic Four. I'm stoked for Avengers Doomsday now. I'm excited for all of it. So the Thunderbolts did its job. It got me back invested in MCU films. And yeah, I'm stoked. Can't wait. If you like this review, check out this other review on Megalopolis. Or maybe you want to hear my thoughts on Interstellar in 70mm. Either way, check out one of these two videos. Subscribe if you haven't done that yet. And stay tuned, because I'll be back. This was Film School Dad.